Pang, as we get your final thoughts, but I'm curious about mandate, because the real story of these elections has been how many people showed up to actually vote. But what the story for me is how many people, A, who didn't even bother to register, and so that you may win a municipality, but actually you're only representing a tiny proportion of people when you look at the overall picture in terms of who could have voted, didn't bother to register, and didn't bother to show up. What does that mean for these parties who may be running things when they know actually the majority of people in South Africa either didn't want you or couldn't be bothered to look at you?
I will tell you, Peter, most of them will say perhaps the IEC should have done better, should have done more to, have voter education campaigns, the works. But I mean, the reality on the ground is that communities are growing increasingly frustrated. I've had conversations with several community members in the various research projects that I've done, particularly in the Northwest Province. We hear community members, talking about how is it that when they, are heard or are listened to, is only during the times of elections. I mean, and when you look at, particularly in the last 5 years, you do find instances where in the several municipalities, communities are complaining about, the lack of access to basic service delivery. The youth vote as well is, a very important one, because it would seem that the youth voice is somewhat, inaudible when it comes to election time. These are the role player group or stakeholder group that, are just not that much, present when we look at, those who are eligible to vote and those who actually register to vote. You are correct to say that, mandate is important. When now they're going to form these new councils, these new administrations, they've got to do better to try and attract the youth and address, the bread and butter issues that, are concerning to them, so that they can see if they cannot turn things around. We're already seeing some political parties, putting up young people as what councillor candidate or mayoral candidate as a way of trying to, make this Y2Y formula work for them. Maybe it might work, but they've got to do more to ensure that, they also get them in, these voices of people who, can be their potential voters come next election.
So much indeed for joining us. Really appreciate your insights tonight. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Peter.
All right, and final word for you, Ongama. So there will be winners, but is this a hollow victory when actually your mandate is so weak?
Well, it will be a victory in the sense that technically, it will be an outcome of a legitimate election. But you're quite right. This election is as much about the parties as it is about the people and how they are reasserting themselves in a different way, refusing to participate in the invited platforms and choosing other means. And we've got to be concerned about what those other means are going to be.
Ongama, thank you so much indeed. Always good talking to you as well. Your insights always greatly appreciated.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, so that's how we're going to start wrapping up things for this leg of the rolling coverage, 24 hours a day of this local government elections 2021. And my colleagues, Bongi Ozwane and Flo Lutwaba, are going to be taking over and taking you through the night. Because if you're like me, you've got FOMO. You just want to know what's going on. And we'll be keeping you updated through the course of the night. Because now we're getting really close to getting the final numbers. So if you want to make sure that you're getting it in real time, this is where you need to be. And so stand by for my colleagues, Bongi Ozwane and Flo Lutwaba. In fact, let's say a very good morning to Flo, who's on the results floor at the Rock. Flo, a very good morning to you, and I'm looking forward to watching you all night.
I don't know if you'll be watching us, Peter. Tell the truth.
I think night last night, I must tell you.
Okay, I'll believe you. You're an honest man. You're an honest man. You'll be up with us until 5 a.m. Thanks very much to you, Peter and Dora, stepping down.